And I was so happy to have them that I was afraid that I would spoil the hell out of them.
She tells me she waited 10 years to have a child. She wanted to have a baby so much. I was born in 1951, and a month later they started the I Love Lucy shows.
We had more fun on the set than we could look forward to at any party in the evening, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes we say, we've had so much fun today, we want to go out tonight.
And then the people that work with us, you know, Fred and Ethel, they were just sensational.
Yeah.
I think Lucy and Vivian were like sisters. They got on each other's nerves and they adored each other.
Someone heard about a young lady who was going to be in La Jolla doing a play, so they called me back after the first act of Voice of the Turtle and said, Lucy, sight unseen, take our word for it, this girl is wonderful. I said, that's all I want to hear. We fell in love for the first rehearsal. She was something.
Nobody wanted Bill Frawley to play Fred. The networks didn't want it, the agencies didn't want it. They said he hadn't done anything in a long time. He had a drinking problem. And the more they kept knocking him down, the more I thought he was right for the part.
He was exactly the way he was written. He cared more about baseball and the fights than he did about anything. If his work interfered, the hell with the work. He wasn't there.
And he was one of the most loved characters in the series, really. No place we went in the country, everybody said, where's Fred? How's Fred?
Everybody was enthusiastic, everybody was working together, and it was fun.
And the only reason they did the show was to stay together. So they went at it for all the right reasons originally.
We thank the Lord, whose love and wondrous powers gave us that brand new baby of ours.
Ed Sullivan is going to do the whole show about us.
These are two people who sought to attain the highest you could possibly attain in this business.
Are you nervous? Nervous?
Why should I be nervous? Are you nervous?
No.
They fought very hard to get to the top, and they made it.
Suddenly Taken Over was a huge hit, probably the first year, and they were going to the theater. And as they walked in, a little bit before curtain time, he said people started applauding. And he looked around and he said, somebody big must have come in. And they looked around and it was for them. They had no idea. They couldn't believe it.
At its peak, I Love Lucy is in like something like 60 countries.
These are two people who brought so much joy to so many people, and I hear it constantly. Constantly.
If you ever looked at the mail that we got thereafter, thousands of letters from women saying, you saved my marriage. Thousands of letters from men saying, you saved my marriage. It's a love match on the show. I don't care what anybody else says. You kind of fake that inherently on the air.
2 years into I Love Lucy, my mother discovered that she was pregnant again with my brother Desi.
They said, what do we do? I said, what do we do now? And we all sat down, and Jesse said, how about having the baby on the show?
Could you believe they won't let us do it? They said, well, can you hide her, you know, behind high chairs or sitting down on a table? I says, not Lucy. When she gets pregnant, brother, there's no question about it. You couldn't even say the word pregnant in those days.
Right.
They say, I had to say expectant. It was better for me to use expectant anyway.
Yeah. So it was going to be a cesarean, time to coincide with the birth of little Ricky on the show. So your dad and I paced the floor outside the delivery room. All of a sudden we hear Lucy say, "It's a boy!" They just literally jumped for joy.
There's a brand new baby at our house.
And he knocked the inauguration of President Eisenhower off the front pages. 16 years later, President Eisenhower was standing outside the El Dorado Country Club, and he said, "Was that the young man that knocked me off the front pages?" For years, the people would run up to Desi and say, "Would you please sign little Ricky?" And that didn't set too well when he was 8, 9, 10.
They used to say, like, "You're little Ricky," and I'd go, "No, I'm not." And so my whole life was about saying to people, "No, I'm not who you think I am." They used to say, "You're different." And I used to go, "No, I'm not. We're just kids."
Whenever old man trouble makes trouble arise, just put that big straw hat over your eyes. You'll never see the circumstance making you frown if you just push your eyes under the ground.
My most vivid recollections of both you and your brother are when you at the picnics.
We all had marvelous times, and it meant a great deal, you know, to the employees there.
All of the little kids would have their picture taken with Lucy and or Desi, and they were, and we had softball games, and they were really family picnics. And you and your brother and your grandmother, and we were all like one big family.
And then after a while, unfortunately, that's when they gave up on it because it was just too much work and time became much more valuable.
Occasionally she would have thoughts about the script, some doubts.
And she would say, "This doesn't work."
And Desi would say, "No, honey, everything's going to be fine." And if he said that was good enough for her.
Lucy told me many times what a genius Desi was when it came to the use of props. It's a rare talent.
Because he had a great sense of comedy afterwards. His wife did not have. Lucy didn't know what was funny in concept. When she did it, the greatest in the world.
What's the matter, honey? Can you sleep?
We've been crying his name for years. And give him credit for the comedy and for organization, for everything.
But he never lost sight of the fact that Lucy was the big talent, his wife. And once we were backstage talking, and Lucy was nearby, and the cables were out there, and Lucy started to walk and tripped on a cable. And when Desi saw her, he quick grabbed us by the shoulders and said, "Amigos, anything happens to her, we're all in the shrimp business." Desi already was a star in everybody else's mind except Desi Arnaz.
Time magazine asked me one time, if you had to split the percentage of the success of I Love Lucy between yourself and the actors and the actresses and the writers, how would you do it? Who would you give the credit? I said, well, give Lucy 90% and split the rest between us.
Lucy and Desi were the two funniest, most wonderful people when they were playing the Ricardos, and they still have the world's most loved television show, probably never go off the air. And yet it wasn't all there is.
I knew they always went to Del Mar every summer, and Desi loved it.
They rented a house off the beach from us. You could go out and swim in the morning and get dressed for the races by 2 o'clock.
He would bet very heavily, always at the big $100 windows, and she would bet on every horse in the race.
And I remember we used to sit with Jimmy Durante, and one of the things I can remember is how big his nose was.
But I would always go down the beach to where Desi and Jimmy were fishing.
They were very good friends.
You remember the one day we were playing on the beach in Del Mar, and Mother, she said, you know something about get those kids, and they were arguing about the fact that he's not speaking Spanish to us. That's all we knew, was that we were dragged off of the beach in the middle of a beautiful day and shoved into the shade, and Dad went into the kitchen and came back out with butter and bread, and he sat down on this little table, and we were sitting there like these two, we were like 4 and 5, and he took off his shoe and he said, "Zapato!"